goodness. We are live. Jim, welcome to the show. We are talking wide receivers, rookie wide receivers. We got 4 for everybody. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, counselor.
Man, I'm liking these lives. I'm liking it. It's off season. Tattoo Destroyer is a dedicated man. He's here. He says, what time is it? It's game time. Dude, I'm liking these lives, man. I like the fact that we can interact with listeners. We could chat. We could do it live. And it's amazing, man. I'm liking this live aspect.
Absolutely, man. Let's do it.
It's a lot of fun. So, yeah, it's off season right now. We're going to talk a little bit of news and notes here. We got 4 wide receivers that we think could be really fantasy relevant depending on where they land, of course, Jim. That is the main thing. But you know how we start these shows, Jim. We start with...
We now have breaking news.
Well, there isn't much. This is the thing. Like, he's got this whole...
We now have breaking news.
You know, it sounds exciting. We're in the newsroom. It sounds like we're going to come up with something, but there really is no news other than there's rumor that Saquon Barkley might end up on the Eagles. What would you think of that? Would you like that home? There's some potential.
I actually heard Houston, which I like a lot more. The thing with Philly is it's got Hurts, and Hurts is going to vulture the goal line. So that's going to hurt any value that Saquon has. So I don't like that. I wouldn't like that at all. I want to see him go to a team like the Chargers, Houston, someone with a pocket passing quarterback that he will get fully utilized with his skill set. And so I would not be thrilled if he went to Philly.
Yeah, for some reason, it doesn't really excite me. I'm more excited if he ends up on the Tech because I don't know what it is. Again, it's that rushing upside of Hurts or anyone out with like Fields or Hurts or any quarterback, even Josh Allen. Like, it just doesn't excite me, man. When those guys, like running backs on the Bills doesn't excite me. Like, I don't get giddy about it. Running backs on the Eagles doesn't excite me. I think it's similar. Even though he's a great player, could get some more work. Could get a lot of work. It doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy. I don't like it. There's that. So in the news also here, we got Green. I can't even talk today. It's too early. That's why we got to get these shows to 1 p.m. so I can actually wake up. Green Blocker says, hey, glad to see you in the morning. Glad to see you, Green Blocker. What's a Green Blocker? Sounds like a superhero or something, doesn't it?
Sure. Green Lantern's enemy.
Green Lantern, Green Blocker. I like that. Funny, we were just talking about that show we're watching, The Boys. What a great show. It's so entertaining, a little freaky, weird in certain aspects, but super cool. So Green Blocker would be a great character for The Boys because he's the anti, he's the kind of the reciprocal. Right. Yeah. They have this Homelander Superman, you got Green Lantern, you got Green Blocker. That's great. All right. So he thinks we're a hoot. He's laughing at his own name. All right. So Tony Pollard, also free agent. Tony Pollard is now testing free agent market, but is open to signing a term with the Cowboys that's slightly like he's willing to take a pay cut, basically, is what I hear. There you go, man. I told you.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a workhorse.
No.
They paid him the franchise tag, which is at the top of the market, $10 million a year. I don't think he's worth that. I think he's probably a $6 million a year player. And he's a complementary piece. He's a third down, change of pace, passing down back. And so, I think he's good at that. And I think in the right situation, he has been very effective on the Cowboys when he's been in that role. I'd be fine with that if he stayed there. But, Cowboys do need to get themselves a workhorse.
Jim, I'm checking the live feed, and we need some more thumbs up on this video. So, guys, smash the thumbs up. I'm actually going to go ahead and share it with my Discord group so everybody joins in here. Get everybody in. Join in. We need everybody in. I think it's off season, but I'm trying to see who the Lions are out there. You know what I mean? Get everybody in. So we'll send that out to the Discord, let them know we're live as well. Other than that, man, all that breaking news hype here with the song and everything.
We now have breaking news.
And there's really nothing breaking. I mean, like I said, Tony Pollard willing to take a pay cut. I mean, at this point, this is like the last kind of like dip, like the last calm before the storm, like March, early April, and then it's the NFL draft. Then it's like off to the races, and then there's a slow little dip kind of in that June pocket, and then bam, we are full flow fantasy football. Jim, we're in March now, but next thing you know, it'll be like week 6 of the waiver wire. I'll be like, what happened to the time? This is kind of that slow time. It's like, like slow, and then it just boom, it just explodes, right?
Right, right. And well, the big thing that's happening this next week is all the free agency is going to happen. So
Yeah,
I believe the last day that free agents can sign is on the 15th of March. So we're going to have a whole lot of stuff happening over the next week, basically. So it's going to get real interesting. There's going to be a lot of changes. Guys are going to new places, and there are some big names, especially amongst these running backs, and we'll be able to really see, have they gotten themselves in a good situation, or are they in some horrible committee? So, I'm looking forward to see what happens there.
I am going to be adding another screen. I bought myself another computer screen here, so I'm going to be able to do some real good screen shares. In the meantime, I do want to show you this video of Derrick Henry training, and I did a post of this. I'm just like, yeah, you look good and everything, man. And I'm gonna actually. You kind of see it here. He's kind of training here. I mean, the guy looks good and all that. I get it. But, I mean, you're 30 years old. I mean, I could do push-ups too, right? He's a muscular guy. Look, see? He looks good. And it's Derrick Henry. Like, there's no doubt he looks good. But how that's going to translate on a new team at 30 years old, I got my question marks, man. I'm fading him. And I said in the post, it's over for Derrick Henry, from my opinion, right?
Yeah, I mean, he might be worthy of a pickup as to where he's going on the draft board. I mean, I think he's going right now like 7th or 8th round or something crazy late like that. And I think he could still have some value. Frank Gore was still effective after age 30, but he got increasingly less effective as the years went on, and soon he was like a guy you couldn't even start for fantasy football. But Derrick Henry, I think he might be worth something. If he is really going in those middle rounds, I don't think I'd mind taking him. And, if he ends up in one of these teams we were talking about, a team like Houston or Baltimore or something like that, or the Chargers, there could be, that could be a good thing. And so, I think he might still have some value at where he's going in the draft, but he's not going in the top 3 rounds anymore. So
no,
worry about that.
Age 30, we're gonna have to see his landing spot, and we'll kind of go from there. All right, Jim, let's start again. Smash the thumbs up if you're new here. Smash the thumbs up if you're just stumbling upon this channel and you're like, oh, I just tripped on this channel, and there's the counselor, and I hurt my knee tripping on this channel, and you're here. Welcome. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe and turn on bell. And that's the thing. I think I was looking at the analytics. I think because in prime time we get like hundreds of thousands. We had millions of views last year, but a lot of them aren't subscribed. Even this video I just did on, I just reposted a video on my Instagram where one of the guys we're talking about here, Xavier Worthy, ran the 4.21, and that thing had like 6 million views. And most of them weren't followers. So, guys, make sure you guys hit the subscribe and follow. And, yeah, man, welcome to the show. All right, Jim, let's talk about the first wide receiver here. And, by the way, you can pre-order 16 rounds. Use code SMASH to save. Make sure you guys grab that below. All right, first receiver. Who do we have here that you want? So we got 4. There's more. It's a great receiver class. We just want to highlight 4. We don't want to go too crazy here today. It'd be a 5-hour episode. Want to keep it light. We highlight 4. He's got 2. I got 2. Who's your first one?
My first one is Adonai Mitchell of University of Texas.
Yeah.
This dude is 6'2", 205 pounds. He's 21 years old. He ran a 4.34 on the 40, a 39.5-inch vertical. Last year, ended up with 55 catches, 845 yards with 11 touchdowns in 2023. And, he was a guy that he was in Georgia. I guess he couldn't get anything going in Georgia, so he transferred to Texas last year, had this great season. But scouts call him a developing talent. He's still an ascending talent. And he was very good last year with creating separation and just making some big plays, big splash plays. Scouts are calling him a George Pickens kind of player, and I really like that. He is a guy that's probably going to go late first round, early second round. So real good situation where he can go in and maybe not be the lead wide receiver, but he can definitely be a backup and someone that will become increasingly more valuable as the season goes on.
Yeah, I mean, there's some upside there, like you said, out of Texas. Leaner build from what I hear. Again, he's not going to be as exceptional as the guy we're going to save at the end. But yeah, I mean, there could be some upside. Definitely at wide receiver 2 potential. And I don't see what round he's probably going to come off. It's not going to be the first round. It's going to be probably like round 2, 3, maybe 4, maybe even, right? But he's going to fall.
I don't think he's going to fall to 4. I mean,
No.
again, this is a really strong draft class, and I'm estimating somewhere between 10 to 15 wide receivers are going to go in the first 2 rounds of the draft.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think he definitely is going to probably be in the second round. That's where I would see him. I don't think he's going to slip to the third. But yeah, he's an exciting prospect. I like him, and really cheap on the draft board. You know, this guy you can get after pick 130 right now. If you're doing any of those early drafts, like a crazy person like me, you know, so he basically costs next to nothing, virtually no risk.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see where he lands. That's a big thing. Landing spot is huge because we know that quarterbacks make wide receivers. Wide receivers don't make quarterbacks. Really, it's more I think the quarterback helped with the wide receivers. So, because we see it every year. I mean, great talent like Garrett Wilson, just nothing happens. Right? They're on the team and like literally nothing happens. You know, like he has a decent year, but if he had a good quarterback, he could really excel. Volume really helps, and also talent and quarterbacks. So it's a combination of stuff. The guy I want to talk about here is the guy that is on everybody's radar, like not really for fantasy, but more just in the media's eye, because he did break the record, man. 4.21, which is amazing for the 40-yard dash. Xavier Worthy. Now, with him, the big thing with him, I've read the scouting reports, I've watched the tape, quick off the line. We're talking explosiveness. Now, again, more quick than fast is what I hear. I mean, maybe a good, he's a decent route runner, but the thing is, he's going to be more of a slot guy, I think. The problem is he's 172 pounds, give or take. He's a small dude, right? 6'1", 172. And with that, you know, you might get the injuries. You got the skinny twig type legs. I don't know if that's going to be an issue, but that's a big problem with him. That's the biggest thing that makes people nervous is the 172 pounds. Obviously, the speed's there. So if anyone looking for a good wide receiver too, I heard rumblings, maybe the Chiefs may be looking at him. They do need a good wide receiver next to Rashee Rice. You know, it'd be interesting to see where he lands. From a fantasy perspective, I just don't see him being the one, no doubt. I don't see him definitely not being the one. And I just don't see him getting a ton of volume. But again, it depends on where he lands. But possibly a good flex play in fantasy. Now that he's on the radar, I would assume that run is going to bump him up a bit. But Jim, remember, a good running time does not mean fantasy points, right? We saw it with John Ross.
Yeah, you know, and the NFL definitely has a thing for really fast receivers, but the where they put them into is the field stretcher role, and those guys don't get a lot of volume. You know, we're talking guys like MVS, guys like Jameson Williams, you know, players like that where they're just sent out. Marvin Mims is another example. They just send them out wide, deep. And occasionally they'll catch a touchdown pass, which will make the highlight reel, but they just don't get a lot of volume. Now, I do like the fact that Xavier Worthy did receive over 60 catches each season. He was at Texas for three consecutive seasons. Last year, his line was 75 catches for 1,014 yards and 5 touchdowns. Clearly, he's going to be, I think he's going to be taking higher than he normally would because of that speed, because he broke the NFL record for the 40-yard dash. But again, I'm not sure there's going to be a whole lot of fantasy value here just because he's going to be in a role that's not going to get a ton of volume. So,
yeah, man. Again, he kind of like, I hope he's not a 1 minute wonder, but maybe he's gonna have his like 2 minutes of fame now, and that's what this was really. It was just like this 2 minutes of fame, and maybe it might end up like this. And I keep going back to that Keith Marshall example with 2016 or whatever it was. Keith Marshall ran with Todd Gurley, and they were called Gershel. Todd Gurley, Keith Marshall, Gershel they called them, and he came out. I think he ran a 4.29. I'm gonna keep going with this example. 4.29, and then he ended up, again, you kind of made a joke about he ended up on Washington, and nothing. That's it. He was a backup, and he's out of the NFL now. Just that easy. Amazing time. John Ross, what happened to him, right? Was he on the Bengals? He did nothing. All that. Ran a 4.22 and did nothing in the NFL. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, again, that role does not get a lot of volume. And so they're never going to do that much. And so, you know, that's my big concern with Worthy. I think he's going to get overdrafted. You know, NFL takes these guys way too early. Like Jameson Williams, they took him 12th overall 2 seasons ago. And what has he done? He hasn't done anything. They really like those fast receivers, but they don't add a lot, especially in fantasy. They're not worth anything. So.
All right, Jim, you're second guy here. Who do you got?
Okay, now I gotta say, the guys we're talking about now, these are the top of the line wide receivers. They're going to go early first round. They are all exceptional talents. The guy I want to talk about is Odunze. And as far as the elite rookie wide receivers, I think this is the guy that I want to target over the other two top guys on the list. This dude is 6'3", 212 pounds, 21 years old. He was the only top prospect that was at the combine. Harrison and Malik did not show up to the combine this past week. 4.45 40-yard dash, 3-cone with 6.88 seconds. I believe this guy is going to go top 10. He will be top 10 in the draft. And last year he had 92 catches for 1,640 yards and 13 touchdowns at Washington, who, of course, Washington played for the national championship. He was rated first overall at the combine in his overall athleticism and prospect score, which is great. And he's guaranteed to be the wide receiver one wherever he's taken.
Yeah.
The reason why I like him is, when it comes to rookie wide receivers, they usually go in the middle rounds. They usually go round 6, 7, 8, something like that. And because of what's happened over the past few years with guys like Tank Dell and, these receivers that are so explosive and effective, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, now these guys in fantasy football drafts are going super early.
Right.
Marvin Harrison's going in the second round. Malik Davis is going into the third round. But Odunze is going at pick 48. So he's going at the end of the fourth round, beginning of the fifth round. And I see that gives him enough space that he can have some value there. The other guys I think are going to be overvalued relative to their production in their rookie season, even if they're really effective, just at where they're going against all these other elite wide receiver ones. I'm thinking Rome has the best chance and opportunity to actually return value on his draft position. And that's why I like him the best of the top three guys.
Yeah, definitely a first rounder. I like the fact that he did compete in combine. A lot of these other guys, it just bothers me that they don't. It's kind of like, it's almost like a privilege. Like, I'm going to make it anyway, right? Like, I'm too good. I don't need to compete. Even like the quarterbacks, right? Like, it's just like, get in there, throw a ball, right? Do something. I don't know, man. I don't think it's a big deal. I guess because they know they're made. They're going to come off in the first round. They got nothing to prove. I get it.
It's like, yeah, there's only downside if they screw up or if they pull a hamstring or whatever, that why take that risk when you're already the number one or the number two wide receiver?
Exactly it.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's only going to hurt you, right? It's kind of like in sports cards. It works like this, right? It's like you got this card, right? And it's like a brand new CJ Stroud signed rookie card. You pull it out of a pack fresh. You could sell it fresh, and let's say it's a 1 of 1, for example. I use this extreme example. It's a 1 of 1. It's a rookie card. It's time stamped or whatever. 1 of 1. If you grade it and it grades a 7 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10, man, but you're not going to get as much for it. But if you actually sell it as is, people can speculate, oh, it can be a 10. Then, you don't, so people just don't end up grading the card. They end up selling it. So I use a sports card as an example, what these guys are doing, right? I'm glad you brought that up. It's such a good point.
Yeah.
So. It's like, why risk it? So going to that, let's talk about him. Marvin Harrison Jr., man, the son of Marvin Harrison, who was an absolute legend in the game.
Hall of Famer, man. One of the best. Like, I think he ranks 10th overall for wide receivers in the NFL all time.
What year was he playing? Was it like 2008?
It was like the early 2000s. Yeah. I mean, it was, I want to say like 2002 to 2010 or 2000, something like that. But
because I should have pulled up his numbers. I think it was like 2008 was, I don't know what his year was. I got to go. Anyway, it's kind of old news here. He's way back when. I don't even see him here. Anyways, it's way back, early 2000s. So anyway, let's focus on the future here. Marvin Harrison Jr., I got too much to list here. But I know.
I know. I mean, the dude, I mean, straight up, he checks every box. I mean, he is elite pedigree, elite athlete, elite prospect, elite draft pick. I mean, across the board, there's no question. I don't think there's any way to even challenge those sayings. So
Okay, so the only knock to him is short, like the quickness off the line, but he's got polished route runner, 50-50 balls. He catches the ball at high points. He's got like he doesn't drop balls, right? Like he's got like vice hands for grips. Like he's just amazing. So great hand strength, great vision, great route running, 50-50 balls. He can catch, he gives defenders, like if you're catching up the ball, like the ball's thrown up, he's coming down with it. He's got everything. The only knock, there's got to be a knock, is that a little slower off the line, not as quick. Like that's kind of the only knock. I've read all the scouting reports. I don't believe scouts. It is what it is. But he is kind of just that perfect guy, 6'4", 205. He's that prototypical perfect wide receiver. They could slot in and just be a wide receiver one out of the gate. So it's going to be exciting to see where he ends up. There's talk about maybe Arizona. I don't know where he's going to be, man. Like who knows? What do you think? It could be
here's what you got. Like the top three are going to be quarterbacks, right? So Chicago, Washington, New England are going to go quarterback because they need quarterbacks. Arizona is at number 4. So yes, I think that is the most likely spot for him to end up. But you got the Chargers at 5. You got the Giants at 6. You got Tennessee at 7. All these guys need wide receivers.
Actually, I heard New England, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, like if New England doesn't take a quarterback, but why would you take a wide receiver when you don't have a quarterback? Literally, they got Mac Jones. I mean that's garbage. I mean I don't know. New England is a train wreck, and they have been a train wreck since Tom Brady left. But I mean they need a quarterback. They can't do anything if they don't have a quarterback, and so.
High standard, MDM high standard just commented, it feels like he's going to be a Bear. Very possible. Who's throwing the ball? But they need Caleb Williams, though. They would assume they're going to go Caleb at 1. And then I'm looking at a couple mock drafts. So this site is projecting Caleb Williams at 1, right? And then they get another pick at, I don't know what number it is, 9. And then Malik Neighbors falls there. I don't think Harrison's falling to 9, but if he does,
Harrison would not fall to 9, not a chance.
They wouldn't let the Bears
but Rome Odunze would definitely most likely be available at 9 if they wanted to go that route. But I think they're going to go a defensive player at that point. I think they're going to go quarterback and a defensive, 5-star prospect. So,
but imagine stacking Caleb Williams, and Marvin Harrison. Like they would never let that happen. It would just be like a fantasy. It would be like this year getting like Breece Hall and Bijan. Like it's not going to happen. You just
you've got to. I mean, Chicago would have to trade up to like the number 4 pick in order to grab Marvin Harrison. I don't think Arizona would let that happen. But I mean, again, Chicago already has a wide receiver 1. They already got DJ Moore. They're not wide receiver needy. They need running backs. They need offensive line. They have other needs. Plus, they've got a new rookie quarterback they're starting out. So I don't think they're going to go that route. I think it's much more likely Arizona, Chargers, Giants one of them is going to end up with Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. So out of all these guys, Marvin Harrison, Rome, we got Malik Neighbors. He's another great wide receiver, 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's another option as well. Again, it all depends on landing spots.
It does. But also, like I said, for fantasy football, where these guys are going in the draft is so high. I mean, again, these guys Harrison is a 2nd round pick. He's like going before someone like Chris Olave or Deebo Samuel, and it's like, geez, I mean, he's going to be in a great situation. He's going to be fantastic, but he is still just a rookie, and he's got to develop a relationship with a new quarterback and all this stuff. Like I said, I just think it's very risky. Again, that people have bid up these rookie wide receivers because they've come out of the gates and they've done great things. I get that. But this class is loaded with wide receivers. And so there's going to be great wide receivers you're going to be able to get on your fantasy football draft board much later and much more reasonable ADP. And those guys are still going to be very effective and very great. Think the 2014 NFL wide receiver class with guys like OBJ, Devontae Adams, and who were some of the other guys? I'm drawing blanks right now, but it was a class that was so loaded with wide receiver talent that's what this class is like. There's going to be great opportunities with these rookie wide receivers for this year, for sure.
All right, guys, drop some questions below. Very, very important. Let's get to the Q&A. We actually like 30 people, 34 people in here. It keeps going up and down here.
Oh, all right, man.
Yeah,
All right.
this is the dead of off season. Like nobody, I remember. Okay, I use me as an example because I was a diehard. This was before I got into fantasy analysis. I remember in fantasy, and I was like the diehard of diehards of diehards. I didn't really start looking till around May. That's when I got I was like right into I thought about fantasy all year long. And I didn't really get into it till like May. April, I watched a draft, and then I was like, Then May, I'd really start looking at my scouting. And then people in my league who were also diehards they didn't start looking till like August, man.
Right.
Like maybe July, August. I remember summertime, I went camping once, and I had a fantasy. This was way back. This is probably like 2013. And 10 years ago, over 11 years ago, and I didn't start fantasy football analysis 2016. And I remember I was out camping and I was out in the woods. Like there was no cell phone. We went portaging or whatever, where you take the canoe out and you have it on your back and then you go out, and I have my bear spray and all that. And I hated it. I'm not really an outdoors guy, but anyway, I went out. Hated every second. I was slept by my bear spray, just like this. I'm like, if a bear comes, Anyway, so long story short, so I had my fantasy football magazine with me, like in the tent. And that's all I read the entire time.
Yep.
People that were with me were pissed. They weren't happy. And they were like, at the time phones were kind of big, but not really. And I remember, people were photoing like, hey, look at this guy, look at this loser, just like look at this nerd, just reading his fantasy football magazine. And that was July, I think. That was like in the heart of summer, I would think. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is like, this is like the dead of fantasy football. And the fact that these guys are here, I commend these guys, pat on the back, thumbs up. You guys are ultra passionate. And so that's why you guys got to turn on the bell. And again, leave a thumbs up and spread the message. Let's get it out. Let's make this 30 into 30,000 by August. And yeah, man, we're going to show the power of the Lion mentality here, Jim. I'm excited, man. It's gonna be
Absolutely.
big.
Let's do it.
It's going to be massive, man. Strength is in numbers. And it's a full takeover this year. And you can tell, man, like, we don't care if it's dead. And yeah, Joe says 30K. Why not, man? 30, 100K, 300,000. We're going wild here. Absolutely. No, there's no issue there. But again, I don't discount anybody. And the thing is, a lot of guys aren't doing live shows. They're not doing fantasy analysis now because they don't care. There's no money to be made right now. They're not selling anything. Like, really, it's like, I don't care. The 31 people are people. They're real people in here. So I respect, if there's 2 people in here, I talk to the 2 people. I respect the 2 people. I don't say, oh, if it's 30,000 and there's money to be made, I'm going to be here. But we're not going to talk to the 30 and remember them in March. Jim, I'm all about the people, man. I'm the people's man.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like Homelander. No, that's a bad example. Homelander.
Well, no, man, don't.
I'm joking. I'm saying the Chiefs are like actually, it's funny. The Chiefs are like the Homelander. We're like the real superheroes. We're like Superman. And who do you want to be, Jim?
We're like Billy Butcher. That's what we're like. We're gonna butcher them.
He's not a nice guy either, though, Billy Butcher. I think we should be the good guys. I'm gonna be Superman. You could be. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be Captain America?
Oh, I love Captain America. Yeah,
okay,
sure. I'll be Captain America. There you go.
There you go. All right, guys. Any questions here? Drop them below. I'm just going to see. There was a bunch of questions.
I see some guy talking about Jerry Rice's kid, Brendan Rice, who is USC wide receiver, 6'3", 210 pounds. He is an NFL prospect. He's not getting a lot of buzz. I'm looking at his line right now. His best year was his senior year, played all 4 years in college. Best year last year, 45 receptions, 791 yards, 12 touchdowns. Great line, but not a lot of volume and not a lot of activity. The year before, only 39 catches. The year before, 21 catches. I'd have to do a little bit more research on him. Of course, the pedigree is outstanding, but I wonder if he's going to be like, a 5th or a 6th round pick, with as stacked as this wide receiver class is. I don't know, man. This is my first time looking at him, but I think I got to do a little bit more research. But there's a lot of kids of players that I've drafted in fantasy football that are joining the league now, which is crazy. Because Frank Gore Jr. is also on the draft board this year. Marvin Harrison Jr., Brendan Rice. It's like, wow. It's like now it's the kids of the guys I used to draft for fantasy football.
Yeah, Brendan Rice,
That's crazy.
6'3", 210, age 22. Again, his numbers weren't amazing. He hasn't, received over 1,000 yards in college, but 12 touchdowns last season. I mean, they might just draft him on the name, but we're gonna have to see how that all plays out. But again, I've got him projected third round, is what I'm hearing from analysis here.
Oh well, third round's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd have to do a little bit more research on the guy.
That's what I'm hearing. So anyway, Dean over here says, you guys are great. I'm religious on your site, but honestly have never bought your draft solution. But this year I'm guaranteed sale every time you guys are right on target. So yeah, Dean, a couple of things. We got this draft solution. You can use code SMASH. You can pre-order right now. We've linked it below. Head on over to thefantasyfootballaccounts.com. Jim comes out with his own draft tool, which is a tool you can open up, which is it's got 16 round optimized players as well, but it gives you an extra edge, gives you extra insights on contract year players, injury prone players, best place to take players. So there's got the draft tool, but also we want to tell you guys about the sports summit. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be doing a live virtual conference like this with NFL athletes in, music, PS5 giveaway, mock draft. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Limited to the people that purchase a ticket, the Fantasy Sports Summit, and you can get that as well. You can combo that with a 16 round. So upon checkout, make sure you guys add that as well. It's going to be amazing. Let's see if there's any other questions here, Jim. Is there going to be another sleeper like Puka? We don't know. I mean, nobody really knows. Puka came out of nowhere. Jim, what do you think? I mean, depends on the landing spot of these guys, right? Really?
It really does. It depends a lot on who the quarterback's going to be for those guys.
Yeah.
And it also, like, I want to see buzz happening around that player during the preseason. Puka was getting a whole lot of buzz right at the end of training camp. And so he fell into my radar very late. But I remember right before the season started, I'm like, go on to the waiver wire, see if Puka Nacua is there and pick him up because I was like, this is a guy you need to get on your team. I'm always keeping my ear to the ground on that. Like Zay Flowers was another guy that I wasn't really big on, but he was just getting such fantastic buzz during the course of the preseason last year. And I was like, yes, he's the one that I want of all the rookie wide receivers. And so, and that worked out pretty well also. So
Green Blocker says, if we do a mock draft, I want to draft Tajay Spears before Tajay Spears does. I don't think we're going to be doing a mock draft with the athletes. Maybe we will, because we want to get them in for 15 to 30 minute sessions for Q&A and have an interview with them. And then Jim and we got to figure out how we're going to run the mock draft. But maybe we can incorporate a player in the mock draft, get their opinion while we're going, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if one of them wants to do a mock draft with us, I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great. But you never know. Maybe we'll get Tajay in there to draft with us. That'd be actually fun. Draft. One of them we'll pick to do a draft with us. We'll have to figure out who that'll be. DC Superman and Marvel America. That's true. We just kind of mixed, didn't we? Because I said I'm Superman and Marvel. We shouldn't have mixed those two, right? Don't we want?
They have crossovers. There's crossover comics. That happens.
I think you should be more the Flash, except without the speed, Jim. You're the Flash without.
I do love the Flash. I was always a big fan of the Flash growing up. I had a big collection of comics from that guy. And I always liked when he teamed up with the Green Lantern. I was all about that. But
have you seen the new one? Have you seen the new one with Michael Keaton? I haven't seen that yet. The new movie. I haven't seen. I want to watch it.
It's terrible. It's really bad, but it's fun. So it's if you like terrible fun movies. That's one. And so, yeah, I mean, it was, and the ending was great. I love the ending. So, anyway, yeah, but it was, terrible special effects. I mean, really, it's just a bad movie, but it was, very entertaining. So,
Dean's asking also, Jalen Hyatt is allegedly moving to the slot. Do you see him being fantasy valuable? I don't know. I'm not excited about Hyatt, but maybe. They're going to bring in another receiver, I would think.
Well, they absolutely have to. I mean, come on, the Giants don't have anybody. And so that's why I'm like, if Harrison or Malik or Rome go to the Giants, I think that's great because the Giants haven't had a wide receiver one in I don't know, what, a decade? I mean, since OBJ left. That's the last time they had a wide receiver one. And they really need somebody. They need some offensive assets. They're losing Saquon. I mean, come on. That means this team literally has nobody right now. They need to step up. They need to grab one of these elite wide receivers, and they've got the perfect draft position to get one.
Bruno says, why don't you have a members group, the people that join? So we do have groups. So we've got the paid Patreon group, patreon.com/FF Counselor. That's one group. We got a free Discord group you can join, which I break news on there. Jim, you should join the Discord group and get involved with the listeners. So there's thousands of people in there.
You know, I've never been on Discord. I just don't even understand what it is, but sure.
Yeah, okay. Jim's gonna get spammed on there, and they're gonna be anyway. So basically Discord. Then we also have a Facebook group called The Council. If you're on Facebook, there's like 5,000 members in there or something like that. So yeah, Discord, Facebook. I'll link them all below. Not even in this video. Another, just my regular videos. I typically link them. The Facebook group I don't really link as much. But the Discord is there. I'll link that, and or just DM me on Instagram. Ask for a link at Fantasy Ball Counselor. If I see your DM, I'll send you a direct link to this. Green Blocker says Discord is just as nerdy as Facebook. That's funny.
Oh, look at that! Someone's saying Brock Bowers to the New York Giants. I mean, certainly they need offensive line help too, and I think that's good. But I mean, again, this team just has no offensive assets. They really need some wide receivers, they need some running backs.
I'm seeing Brock Bowers being projected to the Saints, pick 14th overall. So it'll be interesting to see.
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting play.
Just looking at a bunch of mock drafts, and I'm just messing around here to take a look at this stuff.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when I look at early in the draft, who needs wide receivers, and clearly Arizona, Chargers, Giants, Tennessee, definitely, and then Denver and Vegas. I think both those guys need wide receivers as well. So there's some really good landing spots. Teams I don't want to see grab any wide receivers are like Minnesota or the Jets. And really, Chicago doesn't need a wide receiver, especially this early in the draft. But or New Orleans, they don't need wide receivers, right? Those guys, that's the top 14 right now. So there's a lot of great places for these really good top end wide receivers to go and really make a splash early. So I like that, and I'm happy that it's happening. So it's exciting.
Xavier Worthy, I see him projected at the end of the first round, maybe to Kansas City. And then your guy, what was his name? Adonai Mitchell to wide receiver, possibly pick 25 to the Bears. Again, I'm just looking at other hypotheticals. It's all hypothetical. Everybody's kind of playing the guessing game at this point.
Right. And Adonai goes in there. He's the 2. He's clearly not going to usurp DJ Moore, but I mean, I think that's a good landing spot. They're losing the Chicago is losing Mooney. And so they really don't have anyone else besides DJ Moore right now. So, they need to get some depth there.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's it. That was a lot of fun. We covered a lot. Guys, turn on the bell. Turn on the bell. Turn on the bell. Turn on the bell. And if you guys forgot what I just said, turn on the bell and subscribe. All right? Grab 16 rounds. You can use code SMASH right now, and it'll save you 20%. I might get rid of that discount soon whenever I feel like it. Guys, I had a great time. Jim, we had a great time, man. It was a great party.
Always is, Counselor.
I think, again, what do you guys think? Really quickly before we go, drop a comment below. Do you guys want a 1 o'clock Eastern? Is that better for you guys? Because I think we're missing that West Coast audience, Jim. I think we should be doing this at 1. What do you think?
Yeah, there's also the idea maybe we do evening. I mean, that's another one after work. But I don't know.
People got stuff to do. They got kids. They got stuff. They got running around. They got groceries. I don't know if evening, but then again, 1 o'clock, most people are at work too, right? But again, they could sneak out on a washroom break and see us, right?
Or you just keep it on your headphones. You just listen.
A lot of people do that.
You're at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Phil Gonzalez says it doesn't matter. He's in Arizona. I think we're on Eastern time, so I think he's 1 or 2 hours behind. Arizona is
he's 8 o'clock right there. They're the same time zone we are right now. So
okay.
I am. I'm sorry, the same time zone I am, Mountain Time. So
so it's 8 o'clock your time now, right? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hoyser Devo says football is life. One guy says 1 o'clock. I'm in Texas, just getting my day started. I'll be watching during lunch. Okay, so we'll gotta figure it out. Maybe we'll mix it up. All right, Jim. Thanks, guys. Great episode. We are out. Subscribe and turn on that bell and subscribe. We're out. Bye, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody.